Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm High in Fiber Rugs, and I'm in Lincoln Square Mall. High in Fiber Rugs is a space for workshops for all things fiber art and has a little retail element with a vintage and handmade focus. I teach rug tufting, which I picked up in the pandemic as a hobby while I was looking for something to do. I started selling my rugs at markets. This is sort of just the next step of my business so I can teach other people how to make the rugs. I started tufting in 2021 in my spare bedroom, and around that time I was also a graphic designer. A few months later I took the leap to go freelance full-time to allow me to put more time into the rugs as well. When I chose rug tufting, I was between stained glass and rug tufting, but I ultimately chose the one that was more satisfying in a tactile way to me. I figured with glass I would be breaking things a lot. I wanted something, fuzzy and soft and fun to look at, fun to touch, and wouldn't break when I'm packing it up at markets. In making rugs, it was always my goal to sell them because I just wanted to share the silly rugs with the world. One of my first ideas was to make a coaster stack of ingredients that make a cheeseburger, and that was a big hit. Really, I just wanted people to stumble across my booth and smile. I tried to source things with a vintage and handmade focus, anything that crafty people sort of gravitate towards, especially hair clips and iron-on patches, vintage clothing a little bit on the side. I like to find silly things, gifty things. I work with local artists, a lot of friends that I know who make pottery or do crochet, and I've reached out to them individually to put their things in my store, but I am always looking for local artists with a fiber theme to get their work in here for some extra exposure. I really like chatting with people about what they make and their crafts. It's always interesting to hear how other people have done tufting in the past, but maybe it looked more like punch needle or latch hook, and they love to see it done with a power tool as this sort of new way of doing something that they're familiar with. And it just shows that even across generations, we're still connecting through a similar hobby. It just looks a little different as time goes on. My favorite part of rug making is just getting in the zone tufting. I just set the intention to make things, and once I get going, my busy mind kind of shuts off, and I just get in this flow state of loading the tool, putting the yarn in, the cloth. It's just very satisfying. This is a tufting machine. You load it with yarn. It works a lot like a sewing machine. When you pull the trigger, it just sort of moves itself, and this is what I use to make rugs. Once the yarn is in the cloth, you glue the back, put a felt back over it, trim it up, shave it, carve it however you want, and you have a fuzzy little friend. For the rug tufting classes, I built my own frames. I can seat up to 6 people at once. I have workshops usually on the weekends for those because at the size I have started with, it does take 4 hours for someone to tuft from start to finish. I teach rug tufting, but I'm recruiting guest instructors to teach all the other fiber arts and beyond, like crochet, knitting, weaving, macrame, you name it, beading. For September, I have a lot of workshops planned. We're gonna call it Sewing September, where people can learn how to use a sewing machine, do some hand sewing, mending, looking for this all to be very accessible to any skill level. If people want to become a guest instructor, they can fill out a Google form on my website. I'm always looking for people to help teach things and share their skills. This is really just a space for skill sharing and community building. I want to allow people the chance to try something new that's very low stakes, very achievable, and just leave feeling like they accomplished something, got out of their comfort zone, and made something cute, maybe met some cool people along the way. Anyone who's interested in trying out a new fiber art should check out the calendar here and pick something that they're interested in and have always wanted to try. I'm always open to suggestions as well. I'm always curious to see what people want to learn. It has been a lot of sewing. That's why I wanted to give September a sewing focus. focus because it's been the highest interest of all the fiber arts so far. The workshops are generally very beginner friendly, although some of them do have a minimum age requirement. Tufting, for example, just with the nature of the power tool and the long day, I ask that participants are 14 and up, but mostly not much of an age limit. Any age can do a lot of these workshops. I'd like to offer some that are kid-friendly, like punch needle is the slower version of rug tufting. Upcoming events and workshops will be listed on my website as well as mentioned on my social media. And people can also sign up on my website for my email list to get updates. The business side is really hard. I'm always learning things I don't really want to learn, but it's part of it. You have to do the paperwork and the taxes and all that. Starting small and just working my way up as I go and just always adding to what I'm already doing has kind of turned into this bigger thing. And when I look back at pictures of, baby's first farmer's market, like I had such a small table and, you blink and suddenly there's a storefront and I'm inviting people in to learn how to make rugs and do workshops. I had my eye on this space for a while. The space kind of influenced the vision a bit. I was already selling my things and doing pop-up workshops, but this allows me to have a bit more visibility as well as a defined space for these things to happen. I figure the more established I can be in a space, the more people can hear about it and just see it naturally, and it'll catch on a bit easier. My goals for the store are to create a place where people can try something new, but also build out the retail in a way that supports local artists, gives them exposure, gives them a place to show off their work. When you make something, maybe not always, sometimes it's just for you, but I think a lot of art should be shared with the world so that you can express yourself and meet other people who resonate with it. I've heard before that when you connect with another person's piece of art, you're really connecting with a part of yourself through that art and whatever you take away from it. I learned just by watching a lot of videos and felt the confidence to go all in on this, but I wanted to open a space where it was more accessible to people to just try with all the supplies provided, and you don't have to go all in. You can just have a contained experience and learn from a real person and be around other people who are also learning. That form of community and environment for learning is really valuable. The arts community here is very supportive. I've met a lot of people through what I do and just being involved. I hope to give other local artists a platform by having this storefront.